Time for some stories to start your morning. Before the Super Bowl honors, they were NFL honors, and those belong to the LA Rams this year. Todd Gurley named Offensive Player of the Year. Aaron Donald named Defensive Player of the Year. And rookie head coach, that guy, Sean McVay, named Coach of the Year. Nick, good to be a Ram fan today?
Absolutely. Future looks bright. Aaron Donald, by the way. Good day to be Aaron Donald as well. Nothing like when you hold out to try to get a new contract. Team's like, nah, we're going to pay you what we're paying you. And then you win Defensive Player of the Year. I don't think his price went down this offseason. And Todd Gurley, I wanted him to win MVP. We knew Brady was going to get it. I'm glad Gurley got that. And I know you got to talk to Sean McVay. Happy for all those guys.
Yeah, Jared Goff was there with them. So, man, things are looking up in Los Angeles. Like, to see the Rams have this type of firepower. Now, Aaron Donald, this is not new news for us. He's always been one of the best defensive tackles since he's come into the league. But to see Todd Gurley, career resurrected, to see Sean McVay get the type of accolades as a young, brilliant coach and his innovation to the offensive game, man, I'm excited to see where this team goes, what they do in the draft, what they do in free agency to get better.
All right, two Saints players won the rookie awards. Alvin Kamara won Offensive Rookie of the Year. And cornerback Marshawn Lattimore won Defensive Rookie of the Year. CC, how bright is the Saints' future?
It's very bright. And talking to Mark Ingram at the game, he's mentoring Kamara. He loves what they're doing as a football team. These guys not only are great players, young players, but he said they study the game. They're interested in information, how to take care of their body, how they can be long pros. So New Orleans hasn't drafted that great in the past, but they got two gems here.
Man, these two guys might be the two biggest reasons Drew Brees is definitely coming back to the Saints next year. If these guys aren't there and this team has another 6-10 year, Brees and decides he wants to keep playing, Drew Brees might be thinking, man, maybe because he is a true free agent, maybe I should go somewhere else to finish up my career instead.
I think Sean Payton got something to do with that, too.
Absolutely, but Sean Payton also could be, if they go 6-10, the whole thing could be different, is my point.
Yes.
Kamara was outstanding. Yes. This is both well-deserved for both these guys.
Good insight.
Hey, Tom Brady won his third regular season MVP. Brady has won the award in 2007, 2010, and now 2017. All seasons he has not won the Super Bowl. CC, should Tom Brady have given it back? I'm just kidding. Should Brady have been the MVP this year?
Well, if Carson Wentz doesn't get hurt, he's not going to be the MVP. I mean, yeah, they won 13 games. The best player on the best team who wasn't injured, Tom Brady. He had a brilliant season. At this age, it wasn't as if we've moved the bar down. No, Tom Brady is still playing as one of the best quarterbacks, and he had the best season in 2017.
I wanted Gurley to win it. We knew Brady would win it. I have no beef with this, no objection to this. And it was Brady, the one kind of blotch on his resume was December wasn't great for him. But man, oh man, he was pretty darn good in January and February. So in the playoffs, he was very good. And so, no, Brady, I know that has nothing to do with winning the award, but when you look at the season in totality, no, Brady, well-deserved for Tom Brady. Wouldn't have minded if he and Todd Gurley had flipped their awards. He gets Offensive Player of the Year, Todd Gurley gets MVP. But we know this is typically a quarterback award unless the running back has a record-breaking season.
All right, back to the Super Bowl. Brandon Cooks left the game in the second quarter with a concussion. CC, how much of an impact did this have on the game?
No, the hit was an impact. Now, that was an impact. That was a shot there. I'm glad after watching the replay that they didn't call him for targeting because it was very, very close to hitting him in his head. It's huge because Philadelphia started playing a lot of man-to-man. Their corners were struggling. They got exposed. Tom started targeting the corners and throwing the ball outside, but he's the fastest player on the Patriots. And their inability to throw the ball deep. Wide receivers got open. I mean, Gronk, Hogan, Amendola, man, they were carving the Eagles up. And if you have Brandon Cook, it's just going to put more pressure on that secondary. So it affected the game.
The Patriots obviously made do, threw for 500-plus yards. But if, as CC mentioned, if Hogan is getting wide open, what would Brandon Cooks have done? What is amazing to me about this play is, so that is the type of hit the NFL's trying to remove if you don't have the ball. The illegal crackback block. Man, Brandon Cooks, I hope he is okay long term. but there is a level of, man, the reason that happens to guys without the ball is guys without the ball aren't thinking someone's coming to hit me. Brandon Cooks knows guys are coming to hit him.
I thought all the guys in the NFL were woke. No, he wasn't woke. There's too many people around you to be asleep on the field. And I'm not talking about after the hit.
To quote you, like, where do you think they went? Like, you knew that there were corners all over the place. Where do you think they went?
Finally, one of the more important defensive plays of the game, Brandon Graham managed to strip Tom Brady right here, and the Eagles recovered, allowing them to extend the lead from 5 to 8 while taking another minute off the clock. CC, how big of a play was this one?
This was the play of the Super Bowl. I mean, if you look at Tom Brady driving to win the game, Brandon Graham, they don't have any sacks at this point. If they don't get any sacks, they're not going to win. All right, I'm not. It's hard to take it back and be like, okay, hindsight. But if they don't get pressure on those last drives, and if they don't sack Brady, they're not going to win the game. So let alone sacking, but they get the strip, the turnover, the momentum, which leads to 3 more points to be able to give them the margin of victory that they had. Man, this was a big play after not being successful. So the ability to stay positive and the ability to stay relentless, the way that front has done all season with 7 players playing 400 snaps, but they were negated in this game until this play.
Brandon Graham's the team captain. Brandon Graham led the team in sacks. It's very fitting Brandon Graham made the biggest play of the Eagles season. I do want to give credit, though, to the best player on the Eagles team, Fletcher Cox. If you watch this, everyone's single blocked except for who? Fletcher Cox. So the center can't help over on Brandon Graham.
So once you decide to double team Fletcher Cox, all the 3 other defensive linemen are one-on-one. It's easy math. They got 3 more guys left, and you got 3 guys to rush. So one of you other guys with the single block, you got to get home.
And by the way, you can see it in there. Fletcher Cox still moves the pocket somewhat right there. Like,
yeah, well, Brady couldn't go to his left.
Couldn't go to his left. And so this is a great play by Brandon Graham. I do try as much as I can to give credit rather than find blame. And Brandon Graham deserves a ton of credit. But we have to be fair here, especially with how much deification we've done of Brady the last few weeks, and he's earned most of it. This is a bad play by Tom Brady with the Super Bowl on the line.
Why? Tell us.
You're down. Because you're down 5 points. It is not a situation where, oh, I just can't take a sack. No, you're fine. You're in 2nd and short. There's plenty of time. You have a timeout. You're on the plus side of the 2-minute warning. The only thing you can't do there is turn the football over. That's the only thing you can't do there. And he did, and it wasn't because the right tackle or the left tackle got just swim moved. He doesn't see him coming blindside, hit from the back. I don't know why I feel the need to act those things out, but it just happens sometimes. I mean, Brady, it was right in his face. This rush comes and he loses the football.
And you got to have ball security. We criticize Matt Ryan after last year's Super Bowl. All right, when they turned the ball over, they weren't able, we criticized him for that. In these critical situations, Tom Brady has been the best that we've seen.
Right.
But Brandon Graham's ability to get to the ball, but let's give some credit to the scheme. They moved him from defensive end to defensive tackle so that he can get a mismatch on Mason, the right offensive guard, who I believe is probably the weakest offensive lineman on New England's team. So from a scheme standpoint, they came up with a little trickeration to give them an edge late in the game.
All right, this was a head-scratcher from last night. Malcolm Butler was the Super Bowl hero for the Patriots 3 years ago. Last night, he did not play a defensive snap. After the game, Butler quickly left the locker room, telling reporters, quote, "They gave up on me. It is what it is." For reference, Butler played in just under 98% of the defensive snaps this season. CC, the decision to bench Butler, did that cost the Patriots?
Absolutely. It costs them because you're going against a team that plays 3 receivers most of the time, a team that doesn't have a fullback that they use on a regular basis. So you need Malcolm Butler because you need Rowe to be the nickel. And we know that at this point in the season, Stephon Gilmore, he's done a transformation on the other side compared to the way he started the season, being very rough. So when you decide to bench Malcolm Butler, just from an X's and O's standpoint, you put Rowe in the game, so he's got to play 70 snaps. Man, the Eagles went after him. I mean, he is not Malcolm Butler as a player.
Jonathan Batamosi's getting defensive snaps.
Yeah, so what it does also is from a coverage standpoint, and Philadelphia was able to exploit this. It makes their safeties have to guard either Nelson Aguilar or someone else in the slot. And that's what you could see throughout the game.
Right.
Chung guarding Nelson Aguilar. Nelson Aguilar making big play after big play, conversion, moving the sticks. And that was a huge difference in the game. Now, Belichick's not going to explain it. New England, they keep all these things in-house. But when you decide to not play a guy who's played the most snaps, and this was more important, they dressed him.
That's
so
the key.
They wasted a roster spot in the biggest game of the year. And the thing that I don't know what happened, but I do know the effect. Him being benched affected these other guys and their ability to get a Super Bowl. So Belichick, whatever he had going on, it affected Tom Brady and the rest of that roster because that was not the best New England team that could have been on the field.
Man, the offense did its job.
Yes.
Period, point blank. The offense, you go there, score 33 points in the Super Bowl despite a missed extra point, despite a missed field goal. The defense could not get off the field. Philadelphia, 10 of 16 on third down, 2 of 2 on fourth down, so essentially 12 of 16 in chances to get off the field. And the fact that he dressed is a key component of this. You have 53-man roster. You can dress 46 on game day.
Yes.
So there's 7 guys that are not going to count for your game day allotment. If this were that Belichick was insistent after the game that it was not disciplinary, meaning he didn't miss curfew, he didn't get arrested, and we didn't know about it. There was if it were disciplinary and you're benching him, you don't dress him. The fact that he dressed tells me I believe Belichick. It wasn't disciplinary. But this guy played every single defensive snap of both playoff games leading up to this.
Right. Now, this is not the first time he's been benched this year. In the preseason, he got benched. He got off to a slow start. Belichick said he wasn't pleased with his overall performance. But this is one of the things about Bill Belichick. It's all nice when you win it. But I'm going to tell you, he's very, very dismissive to players. And it came back to haunt him because it affected their ability to be able to play defense. And when you have a safety guarding a wide receiver, that is not his strong suit. You saw Chung during the game. There was a couple times he had to be helped off the field. And because Belichick decides to keep Butler on the sideline, it affects the rest of the team.
You can't swallow your pride when you see that your defense actually does need him. Not when you're playing okay and you know you don't and you want to make a point.
No, because he thinks that no one is bigger than the team. But in this case, the team as a whole suffered because of the decision that you make. Now, all practice, they went through the same lineup. Malcolm Butler was in all the practices. Now, even if they were going to start Rowe, they didn't tell him until after the national anthem. So how are you going to tell someone one of your frontline players is not in the game and it's not going to have an effect? You got a guy that's in his 3rd Super Bowl in 4 years. He's crying on the sideline as they get ready to prepare to start the game.
And I know people probably know this, but just a reminder, yes, if you're thinking was that him, he is the guy that picked off Russell Wilson. Yeah. He is the guy that made...
He did win you a Super Bowl.
He did win you a Super Bowl.
One of the 5 that you won, he won it.
And, by the way, that was the Super Bowl that changed everything. Because had they lost that Super Bowl, the narrative surrounding Brady and Belichick would have been, haven't won a Super Bowl since '04, had lost 3 in a row. The whole thing, everything is different if Malcolm Butler doesn't make that A-plus play. Talked about this before the show. Just knocking the ball down against Seattle would have been an A-level play.
Yes.
Then Seattle would have had a 3rd and goal from the 1, and they probably run it there. The fact that he made one of the greatest plays ever to win you a Super Bowl. Which leads me to believe, Jenna, you were asking before the show and during the breaks, like, why would this happen? And I couldn't come up with an answer. Like, we don't know because Belichick's a little mercurial. But one thing that occurred to me that might sound crazy is if Belichick thinks he can win without you, man, it's a great, hey.
It's a great negotiating ploy.
And a message to send to anyone, negotiating not just with him, but with anybody else on the team. Hey, guess what? You remember that guy that won us a Super Bowl? Who's one of our, even though he's had a bad year, he admitted he had a bad year, one of our more talented defensive backs in a contract year.
Watch what I do to him.
Watch what I do to him. Think what I'll do to you. Like you said, it's all fine and good if Nick Foles throws 3 picks and you win this game 38-13. It's not so good when you allow Nick Foles to throw for near 400 yards.
And it bears repeating again, he played every snap of the first 2 playoff games for the Patriots and almost 98% of their defensive snaps all season long.
How much of a difference, Jenna? What's the difference between 6-2 with your Super Bowl record and 5-3?
That's a good point. All right, coming up, how did the Eagles catch the Patriots off guard? Check on that next on First Things First.
I got that. They put Brandon Ingram at defensive